The meeting of the Auburn Industrial Development Authority Governance Committee meeting will come to order. Roll call
Commissioner Daisy,
here.
Mr. Cuddy,
Here.
Miss Weber McLeod.
Oh, she said she raised her hand.
She,
Yes. Yeah, she's here.
Okay. I'm not getting her on my screen, so
I'm here.
there you are. Okay. A review of the committee chapter or charter. We are responsible for the policies of property procurement, investment, and along with that, the under policies, the property, there should be a contracting officer. I don't remember who that individual was. I'm sure that we did appoint them, but it's been obviously more than 3 years. So we haven't been up to date on that. Taking a look at the duties of the contracting officer, it would be my assumption that it would be somebody on staff, Danielle. Do you have any idea who's been doing those particular things?
I mean, reading through the duties, it's pretty much divided across the CETA staff. Some of these things Taylor kind of runs point on. In terms of the fair market value and all of that, I've been working with Rob Poyer just in the instances of the Terrapin option agreement. And then, you know, Devin does a lot around the website accordance. So I would say these duties are pretty much divided across all of the CETA staff.
Well, in reading this, I don't see anywhere where the contracting officer cannot delegate. So I think that what we need to do is to have a contracting officer on paper and then every 3 years update that. And then the work is delegated. I think generically we should, in my opinion, the CEO probably should be the contracting officer because that would be the person that would delegate the different functions that are necessary.
So the head of CETA, correct? The director of CETA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would put a motion on the floor that the contracting officer be the director of CETA and that they in turn can delegate the different functions or duties that the contracting officer is responsible for.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Terry?
No, that's fine. And just so that we're clear, is CETA mentioned at all in the current? Do we see CETA mentioned at all in any of our bylaws? Just to kind of, because I don't know if we want to throw CETA in there if they're not mentioned at all, I guess.
I don't think it's necessary to put CETA in there.
Okay.
Because AIDA comes under the direction of the CEO, so
not exactly. I mean, AIDA kind of stands on its own, but the administrative parts, the administrative elements of CETA or administrative elements of AIDA are done through CETA. I mean, that's what my understanding is.
It's semantics.
Okay.
The executive director of AIDA is the executive director of CETA.
Okay. That's
That's one of the
good.
functions, as well as the Cuyahoga County Economic Development Agency. The executive director of that organization is the director of CETA.
Not
But now we're just
necessarily.
changing-
Not
Huh?
necessarily. I mean,
Oh,
AIDA
yeah,
is
it is.
AIDA's
That's the way it's
independent.
set up. That's the way it's set up. But the terminology was executive director, the designation was executive director. We have to keep up with the new designation, so I would say that we should say CEO of CETA. But the executive director of AIDA and CETA, and I believe the chamber, is the executive director or now CEO of CETA. CETA comes on, they all come under the umbrella, if you will.
I get that. I'm just saying that AIDA only utilizes CETA for administrative purposes. Would you
Absolutely.
agree? Okay, so
But that's what an
you-
executive director would do, is the
Yes,
administration
the
of
administrative, okay, good.
the administration of the organization.
Does
Okay.
it need to be in the administrative agreement that between CETA and AIDA that the CEO will also be the acting contracting officer? Or is that not necessary to write that out?
I mean, I
Well,
guess,
I think for historical purposes, it probably, that's why I made the motion as I did. That for historical purposes, it should be the executive director, I mean, the CEO of CETA is the contracting officer who has the ability to delegate their duties, those duties.
yes,
But I think, yeah, historically, boards change, so we need to have some clarity on that. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So I think I understand it. So I guess the only thing I'm concerned about, Jim, is that how we language this, I'm trying to go back to Terry's original question. So if we just say that the executive director is the contracting agent, we could put it in, just make it that clear, with the ability to delegate duties without attaching the executive director to CETA or the chamber or AIDA. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, I think the titles have changed, Gwen, so
Okay.
the CEO of CETA, the responsibilities are the direction of AIDA, CCEDA,
Mhm.
and the chamber and we don't have one anymore, but the county still has the loan program.
Mhm.
So I think that, we have to say CEO of CETA for clarity.
Jim, I disagree. There's nothing in the bylaws or the property disposition that mentions CETA, right? It mentions executive director, but it's open enough so that we're not assigning any authority beyond the authority of the Industrial Development Authority. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, if your hang up is putting CETA in there, we can say that the chief executive officer is also the contracting officer.
I'm thinking keep it generic so that it's not attached to
Just
any.
say,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chair, would that meet the need from your
Yeah,
perspective?
it does already mention executive director
Uh-huh.
in there. And as
well,
long
that
as
all
that,
has to be changed. It's not executive director anymore. It's now chief
okay, got it.
executive
All
officer.
right. So they changed the title of it. That's what, okay. I apologize. All right. That
Well,
makes
we
sense.
can take CETA out. That's not a problem.
Well, CETA's not in, so that's fine. They just, I guess, just,
Well, it was in my motion,
Got it. So do
but
we-
we'll amend the motion and
Mhm.
take CETA out, okay?
Yep,
Is that the
that's fine.
satisfactory? Not a problem, okay. We do need to have something that says that, you know, for historical purposes, that's the individual that's going to be the contracting officer.
that's it. I agree.
So, yeah, I'm fine with that too. So we're changing executive director to chief executive officer. And for then, like, you know, as a side note, that title has changed, you know, in the organization that we currently are. But yeah, it's open enough so that we maintain our autonomy. That's what I think is
That's fine,
okay.
not a problem. As I said, it was just semantics, so.
Yes, true.
Okay, and there's been I amended the motion. Is there a second to the amendment?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
any further discussion?
So Jim, can I ask a clarifying question? Under the
Sure.
procurement policy, under section B, it kind of lists the title as executive director. Do we need to go back and revise this all now with the CEO title?
Any place, in my opinion, any place that it says executive director should now say chief executive officer,
Okay,
because we've changed that title from executive director to just chief executive officer, so,
okay.
or
So
CEO.
we-
So
So-
any place that, and in any document where it says executive director, it's gonna have to be cleaned up and put CEO in.
Okay, so in terms of the amendment, we can go and update the document, and then do we have to reconvene the governance committee for the official approval and adoption of that? Or what would be the next
No,
step?
we can approve it with the amendment.
We'll approve it with the amendment. I think that what Jim is saying is that that we want to make the change today so we could vote on it today, the amended version, so that we could vote on it tonight as a group, right? That was the intention, the total group.
Yeah, we'll be taking this to the
Yeah.
full board.
And the idea is that we'll explain to them that, you know, we're changing the terminology, but it's still, you know, with the thing that we want to remember is that, you know, the chief executive officer is the executive director. We're just kind of acknowledging that is currently the name of the person at the title of the person at CETA, but we are not mentioning CETA at all in this document. The chief executive officer could be a executive director, but we just want to acknowledge that title without referring to CETA. Is that clear, Jim? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it
Okay.
can't be an authority member, number one. Number two, it has to be updated every 3 years, which hasn't been done. That's what we're doing today. And number 3 is that we're just changing the terminology to be current.
That sounds good.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions carried. Thank you. Now we'll move on to the procurement. And after going through procurement, I don't see where there's anything in there that other than the titles, you have to be cleaned up. Like section 2B says the executive director, section 2A, the executive director. At every place that it says executive director has to be changed to CEO. And I mean, all the paperwork's gonna have to be changed to that. It wasn't just an easy change. There's a lot of work that goes along with that, but it was felt that changing the title was more appropriate and with the times and our and to looking at our goals. So that's the reason why we changed that. It wasn't done just for just to change it. There was a reason behind it. Has everybody had a chance to look at the procurement policy? Okay.
Yes.
Is there a motion on the table to take this forward to the full committee as approved,
As amended too, right?
as amended?
So moved.
I'll second.
please? Terry,
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All
No.
those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions carried. Danielle, I think that looking at the magnitude of that change, that as we go through these, that change can be made to the paperwork. I don't think you have to dedicate man hours over a period of time to just hone in on that. I think as we move along, every time we see executive director, we're going to have to change it to CEO.
Mhm. I agree.
So as long as Rob or Rick are okay, I mean, like, again, like I'm fine with it, but if they're like, oh, it's got to be this, I think with council, we usually amend it and they're fine with it. So, but yeah, I would defer to them just to make sure.
Okay, we're a little bit behind on updating some of these things, although nothing's changed in them. I do believe that the state requires us to reapprove each one of these documents, policies, excuse me, each one of these policies every year. I noticed that our procurement hadn't been done since 2017, so we're gonna have to keep an eye out to that, to probably set a calendar to update. For the most part, these policies don't change, and since they don't change, we tend to forget that we need to make sure that they're up to date as far as the approvals go. Okay, next item, the investment policy. we, I don't remember seeing executive director in there, so it might very well be, but I don't remember seeing it in there. And that there hasn't been any changes to this policy that I'm aware of either.
What's that? Oh, I don't think so. I don't think she's been off at all.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Jimmy, we can hear you.
There we go. There again, this investment policy, the last time we approved it was in 2014. So we need to set a calendar to make sure that they're approved on a timely basis. Because the state, I'm surprised the state hasn't come back on us. They're you know, they nitpick like crazy, so. If, may I have a motion to put the investment policy?
So
Barry?
moved.
I'll second it. Is there any discussion?
No?
Is Gwen still with us?
Yeah, she's right here.
Okay. I'm not seeing her, that's why I asked. Okay, if there's no changes other than the date, that we'll be taking this as the motion should read, as approved, that there's no changes to it. And we'll take it to the entire board tonight. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions carried. Okay, I think that pretty well does it. Let me see. If there's anything else. I don't think that there was anything else that needed to be discussed.
Think that was it.
I do believe that was it.
Yep, and now to the big meeting.
Trying to find where the sheet is.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Okey doke.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, Terry, before you leave,
Yes, I will motion to adjourn.
We're all in favor.
We're all in favor. All
Gwen
right, thank
seconds.
you.
all
I'll be
those
right back
all those
before the
in
meeting.
favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions carried.